So today I want to talk to you about the feet because I have athletes who get sore feet sometimes and they're wondering what to do about that, and they might even get plantar fasciitis, and it's often usually related to the muscles in the arch of your foot getting overworked. The primary reason that the arch muscles in your feet will get overworked is due to overpronation. So that overpronation is when your foot rolls inwards towards the center line of your torso. Naturally, when we land on our foot, we want to pronate because that enables our foot to load up and dissipate that force. But there can be a point where it goes too far, and a couple of reasons that will happen. One is sometimes we might find that we're standing more what is known as duck stance, and if you start walking and running that way, then you'll notice that if my foot is pointing out like this and my knee goes forward, that naturally loads up the arch of my foot because you can't help but pronate in that position. So what we want to do is we want to have our feet directly under our hips, hip width apart, and we want to make sure that they're pointing straight ahead, because when you bend your knees and your feet are pointing straight ahead, it doesn't cause pronation. So that's number one. And number two, we want to make sure that our knees don't collapse in towards the midline either, because when our knees collapse in, that causes overpronation too. And this is why those bands around your knees are super popular and effective, because they're training you to push your knees out. Now you'll notice if your feet are pointing straight ahead and you push your knees out, you form more of an arch in your foot and you kind of feel a bit more springy on your feet in that position. So what we want to think about is, if they think about the backs of your knees, if your knees are kind of collapsed in a bit, the backs of your knees are going to be pointing out at an angle. Whereas if you can bring your knees out, then you point the backs of your knees directly behind you, and everything's nice and lined up, and you're really ready to load your foot in a good way. And then the last piece of it is that we want to make sure that our feet land closer to us, and not so we don't swing our leg out straight in front of us and land further away. Because when we do that, when we load our foot, it loads in a different way than if our foot lands close to us and fairly flat, which enables the springs in our feet, the arches, to load up more gradually and more evenly, enables us to then quickly be ready to keep going from that position. So that's the third piece, is getting that foot landing closer to us, which will obviously also improve our cadence, and that's all good. So that's the three pieces. So feet are pointing straight ahead, knees are apart, you're landing on your feet, and then you're springing off them with each step. So try all that, and hopefully will reduce the amount of fatigue in your arches of your feet.